Let's get into these Hebrew verbs, because the verbs, I'm telling you, this is where there's such amazing depth for us in our Bible interpretation. Things that you're not going to see in the English are so much richer in the Hebrew itself. Recall that we went over 7 stems. What's a stem? A stem is talking about how the verb is being used, who the verb is being done by. Because the stems are going to break into 3 clean categories. They're going to be active, passive, or reflexive. Okay, let me remind you what those mean, because hopefully from your Greek, this will be somewhat familiar to you. Your active means you are the subject doing the action. The passive means it's being done to you. The reflexive is you're doing it to yourself. And that's how the Hebrew stems break down. They're telling you who or how the verb is taking place. So the 3 ways it can happen: active, you're doing it; passive, you're receiving it; you are also reflexive, which is doing it to yourself. The 3 ways that a verb can work. It's pretty straightforward. You're either doing the verb is being done to you, or you're doing it to yourself. Active, passive, reflexive. But within the Hebrew, you have the added nuance of normal or intensive. It can be doing normally or it can be doing intensively. And that's what gets lost. There's no way to translate that. You cannot translate the intensive forms, and that's where it gets super interesting. Let me give them to you 7 ways. 7 different stems, broken up in those 3 categories: active, passive, and reflexive. But they also have the added nuance of regular or intensive. So, kal. Your kal, by the way, is your most basic, probably 70-80%. I got rid of your 70%. Of all verbs in the Hebrew are going to be this simple active kal, which just means the subject is doing the action of the sentence. Whatever that verb is, you're doing it. Simple active, you're doing the action. So the example that's used here, why? I don't know, maybe Justin Alfred likes guns, but he's the one that drew this up and he put in here, guns is a reference. So you shoot something. If you're shooting, you're doing the action, you're doing the shooting. You shot. Straightforward. What's the nifal? That's reflexive. That's passive. It's coming back at you. Okay? You were shot. See the difference? If it's kal, I'm shooting. If it's nifal, I'm being shot. Doing the action, receiving the action. So simple active, simple passive. Kal, nifal. Active, passive. Okay? What's the PL? Ooh. Intensive active. Meaning, yes, you're doing the action of the verb, but not in a little bit of a way, a lot of a way. Now, the example here is it's not that he shot somebody, he really shot somebody. He unloaded an entire clip of a gun into them. That's intensive. I mean, if you have a battle, you're in a war, and you fire a bullet, yes, you're shooting. Okay? If you're mounted on an M60 fully automatic machine gun and you unload the entire clip, you're still shooting, but it's different. That's the PL. You're unloading that gun. You are just decimating whatever's in front of you. That's the PL. It's an intensive form of the active verb. You also have the intensive reflexive, the intensive passive. That's the pu'al. You were really shot. Someone unloaded a clip of a gun into you. That's not healthy. You're going to see Jesus. But that's the pu'al, intensive reflexive, intensive passive. So you have active kal, intensive active PL. You have regular passive nifal, intensive passive pu'al. But then you go on, you have the causative. This is interesting because we don't have this again in English. What's the causative? You have the hefil, which is someone, or you caused somebody to do something. You made someone do something. Because it's active, but causative. You are making somebody do something. You can make yourself do something. That's also included. Abraham, recall we used from Genesis chapter 22, when the Lord told him to offer his only son Isaac on the mountain that he would show him. He caused himself to get up in the morning. It was hefil. He made himself get up because he didn't want to. Who wants to get up and go kill your son? That doesn't, of course, it's not a good day. So he had to force himself, make himself, hefil, get up to go and offer his son. So there's causative. You're causing something to happen. Hofal. Someone's causing you to do something. That's deep. Get the idea. If the Lord says, have faith, and it's hofal, he's making you have faith. He's causing you to have faith. It's pretty wild. That changes the whole context of the statement. He's not saying something you need to do. He's causing you to do it. That does come up more than a couple times in the Old Testament, where there's this hofal, causative, this whole passive. You're being caused to do something. He was caused to be shot. He caused someone to shoot, or someone caused him to be shot. That active, passive, causative is the hifil hofal. And then finally you have the reflexive, which is the hitpa'el. You're doing it to yourself. So let's review. Your fundamentals are your three categories: active, passive, reflexive. Active, you're doing the action. Passive, you're receiving the action. Reflexive, you're doing the action to yourself. But it's broken up into normal, that's the kal nifal, intensive, piel pual, causative, hifal hofal. Does that make sense? Active, passive, reflexive, but they come across in three different flavors: regular, intensive, and causative. Following so far? Still review.
Yes.
Stems are huge. Now, mind you, we talked about, and this was some of your homework last time, this stem is not simply about knowing whether it's active, passive, or reflexive, whether it's normal, intensive, or whether it's going to be causative. It's also about knowing the meaning of the word. So example, you come down here, this whole went up. And Abraham went up. Okay, the went up is just a kal. So it's a simple stem, which is all you have to do, by the way. When you open up, the way that you find these things, just go through this because it's good to see it. Take any verse you want to. Old Testament. You have to be in the Old Testament because that's the Hebrew. Click on your tools, pops open your interlinear. There's your Hebrew up top. Probably still a little intimidating looking at that Hebrew. But remind you, you can always go down, and they break it down for you really nicely here. And in your parsing, you have the green. If you see a green, that's going to be your verbs. So Abraham went up. Click onto that went up. You'll find out, when you click on that, parses it for you. It is a verb, sure enough. It's this verb, again, ya'al. Okay, it's a kal. That's what we want to look at, the stem. That's our key distinction right now. Click on that kal, and you find out the meaning, because when you go to the Strongs, notice how they break down the definitions. This root word, which is ya'a, this root word ya'al, is going, and it's going to be talking about either a kal, nifal, hifil, hofal, or hithbael. Notice how the meanings are divided by the stems. If this verb, which is this ya'al, if this has a kal, it means to go up, ascend, or climb. Okay? That's because it's an active simple. If it's a nifal, it's to be taken up, brought up, or to be taken away. Notice it's passive. Someone's taking you somewhere. You're not going up, you're being taken up or taken away. Hifil, causative, to bring up, to cause to a climb up, to cause. Notice your key word, cause to us go up. To cause to ascend, to rouse, to stir up, to offer up, to exalt, to cause to ascend. It's all causative. Hofal, which is the causative passive, to be carried away, to be led away, to be taken up into, be inserted into, to be offered up, because it's causative passive. Hithbael, to lift yourself up, reflexive. You see how the interpretations blend right into, fit right into those meanings. Kal, simple active. Nifal, simple passive. Hifil, causative active. Hofal, causative passive. Hithbael, reflexive. And that defines your interpretation. So you know the meaning of your word by your stem. Your stems give you the definitions. not just the how, active, passive, reflexive, intensive, regular, or causative, but it also gives you the definition. And sometimes those definitions can be really different. We'll go back to Genesis 1:1, again, because it's a fun consistency. You see this over and over, you'll become familiar with it. This word, Rashid, fascinating word. It's a noun, but I want you to see, actually, I want bara. That's what I want, the verb. Thank you. This word bara, to create. Notice its meanings, okay? If it's a kal, fashion, shape, create, always with God as the subject. God's the only one that can bara. Man can't bara, God baras. Nifal, to be created, makes sense. Kal, active. Nifal is passive. So we are created. God creates, we're created. So it can be applied to us in the nifal. PL, to cut down. Oh, wait a minute. That's very different. The word can be create or cut down. Those are antonyms, they're opposites. Those are the inverse meanings. How do you know that it's a PL, cut down, versus a kal, to create? Again, the stem. The stem's going to tell you which one of those definitions fit. There's even my favorite, the hefil, to make yourself fat. Same word, create, cut down, make yourself fat. How do you know what definition fits? Based on the stem. So the stem will tell you the how, active, passive, reflexive, regular, intensive, or causative. All that's built into the stem, but it also can be used to give you the definitions once you look in the Strongs. So the stem's huge, hugely important to your Bible interpretation. Now, new information. Questions on the stems?
Quick question, Pastor Dave.
Go.
So, like the example you gave, because it gives you the kal, the nifal, the different stems, but you said to know which one is it when you interpret. So, like if the stem is in the parsing, it shows that it's kal. Then when you interpret, just focus on kal and disregard the
Correct.
the rest.
Exactly. So if you were to go to here, Genesis 1:1, okay, which has this word, Barashit bara Elohim. So in the beginning, God created. So when you go there and you go, okay, my word bara, I want to know, what does my word bara mean? Because this is a kal stem, okay, and if you're wondering, how does it delineate between different stems? How do you know, if you wanted to get deeper and say, how do you make a particular verb, kal, nifal, pual, pl, hofal, hitpael, how do you make it the different stems? It's spelling. So it's the spelling of the word that's beyond the scope of what we're trying to tackle, but just so that you do have that in your mind. The way that that is defined, it is distinctly defined. This is a grammatic definition. This is a hard definition, is by the spelling of the particular word. So the word bara, which by the way is its root form, the kal is its root. So in its basic form, it is a kal. You would have to modify it to make it a nifal or a hithbael. You'd have to change the spelling to do that. But in its kal form, yes, you're absolutely right. You would only look at the first definition. You would ignore everything beneath that. Because it is a kal, you cannot use these. If you used any one of these interpretations, any one of these definitions, you'd be wrong. You would have bad Bible interpretation. Because for sure, that word in that sentence doesn't mean any of these things. It's the wrong stem. It can mean any of these things underneath the kal. It can mean to shape, fashion, create, as of the heaven and the earth, as of an individual man, as of new conditions and circumstances, or transformations. All of those would be accurate potential interpretations, and you'd have to go to the context of the verse to find out which one was appropriate.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why the stem has a dual purpose. Its first purpose is to tell you how the verb is being done. Is it active, passive, or reflexive? Is the subject doing the action, receiving the action, or doing it to himself? Active, passive, reflexive. With the additional nuance, is it regular, intensive, or is it causative? All that's baked into your stem. The who active, passive, reflexive, and the how, regular, intensive, or causative. That's all part of your stem. But also in your interpretation, your definition is baked into those and tied to those stems as well. So 2 different ways the stems are used. The who and the how, and then the definition. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Like it. All right. That being said, let's get into your grammatic terms that go along with your stems. These go along with, they complement your stems. Now, they are the perfect, imperfect, cohortative, jussive, participle, infinitive, and imperative. Throw them out there all at once, and then we're going to start going through them one by one. Now, let me show you, first of all, where these pop up so you know we're going to see them. So if I go to a verb, any verb, you're going to notice that I've got a stem and then a type. Do you see the type there beneath the stem? Let me move this up so you can see it easier. So I've got a word. My word, in this particular case from Genesis 1:1, is the word bara. Bara is a verb, so I know it's a verb right off the bat. It's all there given to me. I just have to click on it and it tells me that. But then is my information, my parsing, my breaking down, my construction of this verb tells me it's a stem, kal, simple active, but it's also got a type. Okay, so you don't just have a stem, it's a type. My type is where we're going to get into these terms. The type can be perfect, imperfect, cohortative, jussive, participle, infinitive, or imperative. This is going to give me, it's a whole lot, by the way, depending on what it is. There's a lot baked into this type. It's going to tell me when the verb takes place. Is it past, present, or future? It's going to tell me, is it a command? It's going to give me, is it the character of the verb? Is it going to give me a hope or a desire? All of that's baked into that type. There's a whole lot of information that comes into the type of verb that it is. So this is unique in Hebrew. This is not something that you're going to find. We really don't have anything that defines quite cleanly to this in English or Ilongo. This is kind of unique Hebrew grammar and how this comes together. You can get some of the concepts in English and Ilongo. They are there, but not in the same way. This is kind of uniquely put together in Hebrew, where you've got your stem, which is the who and the how, active, passive, reflexive, regular, intensive, or causative. That's the stem. But once you get in this type, whoa, this is where this gets fun. And it's in every verb. They all have their stem and type. That's how Hebrew verbs are put together. Let's look at what these types do to a verb. First of all, we need to talk about the perfect imperfect, which is the first 2 options. That's number 1 and 2. Perfect imperfect is your when. Some verbs, not all, look at this, but some verbs have this when baked into them. And there are only 2 options, perfect and imperfect. Okay, let me help you kind of grasp what that means. Hebrew doesn't have past, present, or future. I repeat the weight of that. Hebrew verbs do not have tenses the way we think of tenses. There is no past, present, or future tense in Hebrew verbs. Crazy. What does it have? Completed action or an incomplete action. If it's a completed action, it's perfect, it's done, it's completed. If it's an incomplete action, it's imperfect, it's not complete. I'll repeat that because that's pretty wild information. That, again, is radically different than anything we are familiar with. There is no past, present, or future. Those don't exist. You have complete, the action's been done. Whatever the verb is, it's finished. Or incomplete. Whatever the action is, it's not done. It's not finished. Well, how does that get interpreted? Usually, though not always, usually a perfect tense is going to be interpreted as past. Why? Because the action's completed. It's been done. If it's a completed action, it must already have occurred. It's past tense. If it's incomplete, it's either happening right now or it's going to happen still in the future. It's present or future. Either one of those is imperfect. Well, how do you know which one? How do you know if an imperfect is present or future? One word, and it's a word you're going to become very familiar with in Hebrew: context. The context of the sentence, the context of the particular verb is going to tell you, is this an ongoing action, present, or one that's yet to occur, future? There's no grammar to define that. It's strictly context. So perfect, past tense. Imperfect, present or future. Although let me give you the fun one. If you're in a prophetic book, because God is God, he often refers to events that have yet to occur in the perfect tense. Wait a minute. I just told you perfect was past tense. Yes. Perfect is usually interpreted as past tense. Unless it's God talking, because God, because he sees everything, oftentimes refers to events in the future as if they've already taken place in the past. Hebrew. I love it. So perfect can be past or future. If it's God talking, because he's God, and sees things as if they've already happened. So even though it's future, it's actually still a perfect tense or perfect in the verb itself, in its type. How do you know that? Context. But just so you understand, and as far as its timing of a verb, timing of verbs within the Hebrew, you only have the two: perfect, imperfect, completed action, or incomplete action. And context is going to tell you what that means. Let's give you some examples, because telling you that, right now your head's probably hurting. I understand, dugot sa ilang, dugot sa ulo, papi sa mata, dalanggan pa. Let me give you examples to help you bring this around, okay? Exodus chapter 19, verse 18. All the Lord has spoken, we will do. By the way, this is an awesome, awesome statement. This is amazing. I'll show you the weight of this. Ready? First of all, you do have that call right there, which is always kind of fun. That call, again, is all. That's a word you see all over the place in the Old Testament. So everything, all. Everything the Lord told us, everything that Moses has commanded us, okay? That the Lord has given, this Deber, and this Yahweh or Adonai, okay, we're going to do this. This word do is this word naaseh. Naaseh. So it's a first person plural. We're going to do whatever God tells us. Here's the key for us. It is an imperfect. Stop for a moment. I'm going to leave this open to you. I want to see if I can get an answer from you. So I'm hoping you can answer this question for me. I'm going to tell you. Let's see if you can tell me. If all the Lord has said we're going to do, and that word do, will do, is imperfect, how would you interpret that? What does the imperfect mean in that sentence?
You have to continually do it constantly, not just once.
There it is. Exactly. That's exactly. Do you see the difference there? They're not saying, now mind you, the way that they put this is interesting. If you read this in the English, it reads as if it's future tense. When you put it into all the Lord has spoken, we will do, the interpreters, and this is translation. I want you to see this. This is translation, not the actual text. This is how the translators decided to bring this verb in. They made it a future tense. We will in the future do whatever God has said. That's actually not the verb that's there. The verb that's there is imperfect. The actual meaning of that is we are going to continually do all that God has said. We are going to continue to do, imperfect, at all times, whatever God has said to do, which is interesting because they failed miserably at this. Didn't take them long, by the way. 40 days Moses on the mountain. By the time the 40th day came, they've already made the golden calf and are breaking almost every law that God gave to them. The fundamental ones out the window. It didn't take them long to mess up, but their statement is profound. They're saying imperfect. We are going to continually, it's an incomplete action, it's ongoing, continually do all that God has said. Interesting, huh? That's the imperfect. Powerful. Let me see if I can give you some more because that's not enough. I want to give you more. Let's go back to Genesis 1:1. Just because, again, consistency. The more you see something, the more familiar you're going to be with it. By the time we're done, you're going to know Genesis 1:1 in Hebrew and in English. Okay? Barashit bara. Okay, what's our verb in this sentence? Turns out there's only one. It's the verb create. So you can go down here, see how you get there, so you can see how it's done. You open up Genesis 1:1, click on your tools. Opens up your interlinear, which means you've got the English on top, and you've got our Hebrew right here. Remember, English reads left to right. Hebrew is right to left. Always remember you're backwards to English, reverse of English. So we're going this way. This is our word barashith. Here's our word created, bara. If you don't want to pick it in the top line, you can always come down here and just find it in our breakdown down below. You get the little green. There's our verb. It's a kal. Okay, very cool. But it's a kal. What type? What type?
Perfect.
It's a perfect. Okay, interpret that for me. What does the perfect tense mean?
It's already been completed by God.
It's a completed action. He's not making the earth. He made. Past tense, it's done. And it's actually brought out here well in the English. It's not in the beginning God creates the heaven and the earth. No. It's a completed action. It's already happened in the past. God created. That past tense verb is reflecting the perfect type. It's showing you that that is a perfect verb, something that God has already done. Now, let me show you where this gets fun. I'm going to go to some notes from yesterday. We were in Isaiah 40 yesterday. I'll pull this up for you because I bet you've already got it noted. I will note this, by the way, in my notes. I will often put in there perfect and imperfect if it makes a powerful impact on the interpretation. I'll put those in my notes. Oh, this is an imperfect. Oh, this is a perfect. That may be the case. Let me see if I noted any of these in my notes. I'll pull them up and see. I know there were some there. Let me see if I noted them. Did I note any perfects? Nah, just a couple of imperfects. So I didn't put any perfects in there. Let me take a look at that. They know there's perfects in here, though. Comfort my people. Let's take a look. Very first verse. Comfort my people. Yes, comfort my people, says our God. Let's take a look at the word comfort, which, by the way, is just repeated twice. It's literally the same word. It's identical. It's this word here, na'amu. This word na'amu comes from the root word nachem. So you have this word nachem, and it looks like it's a PL imperative. Oh, interesting. That's different. We haven't gotten there yet. Let's avoid that one for the time being because I haven't given you the imperative yet. But it is a PL, by the way. Note the PL. You, Isaiah, shout. Don't just say you shout comfort to my people. That's the imperative again. I mean, it's the PL again. Let's see if I can give another one here. Prepare away. Let's see how prepare looks for here. Cries. Now it's a participle. Imperative. Make straight. It's an imperative. I got to find another one. Sometimes it's hard to find your perfect imperfects. Let's see. What shall I cry? Ah, there we go. That's an imperfect. So there we go. So, the voice said, cry out. And Isaiah said, what shall I cry? Okay. That word cry, I want you to see this. It's this word, kora. How do you say cry? It's a kal, simple active. What am I supposed to cry out? Imperfect. What does the imperfect mean in this sentence? What tense, what time would you give to the imperfect? What shall I cry? Imperfect. Any thoughts?
You're either crying now or continually crying, constantly crying.
You can interpret this two ways. And I think both would be fine. What do you want me to be crying? Or what will I in the future cry out? Both would work fine because it's the idea of an incomplete action. Whilst imperfect, it's not yet completed. So Isaiah is not saying, what did I cry out? It'd be perfect. What am I crying or will I cry? I think either one of them would be fine. In the case of the translators, they chose, what shall I, future tense, cry? And that's fine. That's the imperfect. See how they work? Perfect, completed action. Imperfect, incomplete action. And there is, I think we have what we call a prophetic perfect. Let me see if I can find one. I think it's right here, actually. No, these are all imperfects. And then walk and not be weary, those are all imperfects, all dealing with the future tense there. He gives power. Those are imperfects again. I think, again, I want to see if I can find one for you. I have to hunt one down. But the prophetic perfect is where when you read it, it's perfect, which suggests it's a completed statement, but it's God speaking from his perspective. It's a future statement. So that's where they're going to watch the perfect sometimes when God is speaking, because God will sometimes refer to future events in the perfect type, because he's God and sees the end from the beginning. And even though it's a future event, he's seeing it as already fulfilled. It's called a prophetic perfect. There's actually a title for it called a prophetic perfect. Just know that that does happen when you're dealing with God speaking. So just be aware of that. That's the one exception where the perfect can be future tense. Usually it's interpreted as past tense. Perfect, completed action. Imperfect, incomplete action. How are they interpreted as far as their tense? What time they take place? Context. Perfect is usually past because it speaks of an event that's already occurred, unless it's God talking. Imperfect is an event that's either ongoing, present, or yet to take place, future. How do you know is it present or future? Context. That's the perfect, imperfect. So, key to grasp, there is no past, present, future. Those don't exist in Hebrew. Completed, incomplete, you just have the two different times. Now, from there, we move on into your cohortative and your jussive. I'll give you back to your terms. Perfect, imperfect are 1 and 2. Term 3 and 4, cohortative and jussive. What's a cohortative? It's emphasized. It's an emphatic. It's not saying, God created. If God cohortative, he really created. He passionately made something. That would be a cohortative. It means whatever that verb is, the way it's being modified by that cohortative is it's making it intensive. So the cohortative is a way to emphasize a verb in the action that's taking place. The jussive is permissive. It means there's a choice. It's asking you to do something. It's asking something to take place. So cohortative is emphatic. Adjussive is permissive. It's asking for permission. It's asking you to do something. It may even be commanding you to, but it's commanding you to with a desire, I really hope you do. That's the jussive. Let me show you a great example because the jussive is awesome. Adjussive, one of my favorite, this is genuinely my favorite verses, and it's not just found in Exodus 14:13. It's all throughout the Old Testament. You'll find this particular jussive in this particular grammatic formation. Do not be afraid, stand still. So almost always with a jussive, you'll have this introduction of L before your actual verb. So the L is kind of like the introduction. It's connected to, it becomes part of the verb. That's what forms the jussive. So that's how you know it's a jussive, is you'll see that L at the beginning of it with a little dash. So L in this case, teraru, teraru, el teraru. Don't let yourself become afraid. Let me read it to you again because it's huge. If you read it in the English, do not be afraid. Okay? Straightforward. And that's, of course, context. Israel's at the Red Sea, armies of Pharaoh coming in behind them, ocean in front of them, they're trapped. Moses says, don't let yourself be afraid. He goes on to say, look up and see Yeshua. Look at the salvation that comes from God. So how do you not have fear? What you're looking to. He gives you the choice. Look to Pharaoh and his armies. Fear. Look up and see Jesus. No fear. But he's encouraging you, Joseph, choose not to fear. Choose who you look to. This is huge, theologically profound, and it's applicationally rich. How do we go through life? By choosing what we look to. If we look to our circumstances, we'll be afraid. If we look to the Lord, we're not afraid. This is Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. Don't worry about anything. Don't look to your circumstances. Pray about everything. Instead, look to the Lord. And you'll have the peace of God that surpasses your understanding. You may not know how it's going to work out, but looking to the Lord, you trust that it will. This is the Joseph. This is what it's constructing in the Hebrew. It's giving you the choice. God is giving you his desire. He's saying, with permission, I'm asking you, please don't choose the wrong way. Don't choose to look to your circumstances. Don't look to Pharaoh and his armies. Look to the Lord. That's the Joseph. It's powerful. The Joseph, every time I see a Joseph, I note it. There's not a lot of them. You're not going to see them every Bible study. You'll see them more often than not. They do come up. But when you find them, stop. Because that's a nuance that's hard to bring into English. It's hard to interpret that. It really is emphasizing with permission. He's being asked. You're being encouraged. Please choose not to fear. Because it's a choice. Which is wow. Fear is always a choice. That's one of the great truths of the Bible. Fear is a choice. You choose based upon who you look to. What's the cohortative? The cohortative again is emphatic. Go back to the example of Exodus 20:19. Speak with us and we will hear. Okay, that word hear is the word nasa. That word naase. That is the word to hear, but it's cohortative. It's got an interesting construction to it. The actual root verb there is the word shamay, but it's got an interesting spelling because of the cohortative. It's emphatic. It's not speak to us. Maybe we'll listen if we've got some extra time. If it's not too much of a burden, we may pay attention. No, it's cohortative. You speak, we will listen. We'll pay attention to everything you say. Cohortative. It's emphatic. It gives it emphasis. So it's really drawing it out and being saying we're going to 100% listen to every word out of your mouth, which they didn't again. They failed quite miserably at this. But yet that's the statement. That's the cohortative. It kind of gives you that insight as to exactly how determined the Hebrews were to follow the law, though they failed miserably because we always will when we try to follow rules and regulations. It's not that we don't want to. It's that we are incapable of. You see that played out very well. The desire was there. Whatever the Lord says, we will continually do. You speak, we'll listen. All of it is cohortative. All of it is imperfect. All of it in the grammar there suggests a great desire to be faithful to the word, and yet they failed miserably. Why? Because we always will. We are not capable of keeping the law. And you see that played out in the Hebrew grammar, which is awesome. Beautiful picture. All that to be said, cohortative is intensive. It's emphatic. Joseph is permissive. You're asking permission, a desire, a choice that's being given. Following so far? Go back to our terms. Perfect, completed action. Imperfect, incomplete action. Cohortative, emphatic action. Joseph, permissive action. All verbs, all tied into the type of verb. It's either telling you complete, incomplete, emphatic, with permission. That's your perfect, imperfect, cohortative Joseph. Your silence I will take to either be confusion or that you're at least somewhat following.
Somewhat.
I like the somewhat. I'll take the somewhat. All right. Let's get on into participles, infinitives, and imperatives, which are the last three. 7 terms in all. We've done perfect, imperfect, cohortative, Joseph. Now we'll get into participle, infinitive, and imperatives. And these are your 7 types that are defined in your Hebrew verbs. Okay? What's a participle? Okay? A participle, fundamentally, is going to say that it is a continuous action. It's often interpreted as an adjective or a noun. What do I mean? This I need to show to you because this may lose you if I don't show it to you. Best example, we've seen this before. We've actually gone here before, Psalm 23. Psalm 23 is a reminder, Mizmor, Psalm le David. There's your participle, by the way, Psalm of David, le David. Okay. The Lord, Adonai, Yahweh, take your pick. Roe. Ooh, stop right here. If we go down, pull this up one by one so you can see it. Psalm 23, click on my tools, brings up my interlinear. I've got my Hebrew here on top. Don't worry so much about that. That's probably still a little confusing, a little scary still. So we'll come down here as we bring it down. Notice my verb, green. Wait a minute. The word shepherd is green. Shepherd is a verb. Click on that. Sure enough. Now, if I were to look at that in the English, the Lord is my shepherd, I would not think that a verb. In English, that is not a verb. If you were to break that down, if you were to say, give me the parts of speech in that sentence, we would sit there and go, the Lord is, I would say the word is my verb in that sentence, and the word shepherd is his title. It's his name. It's going to be a noun. In English, that would be correct. In Hebrew, no. In fact, you'll notice the word is in italics. It's always a bit of a hint, by the way. If you want a little bit of a, wait a minute, could be something here I'm missing. Whenever you see an italics word, it means that someone was adding that. They put that there. The translators added that, but it's not in the original language. It was added for our grammar, but it's not part of the original grammar. So what is the word shepherd? It's a kal participle. Stop. Wait a minute. It's a verb, first of all, meaning the fact that it's not his title, it's an action. So how does that work? How does a verb get translated as a title and a noun? Well, click on participle. This helps us, by the way. Remember that you can always click on your types, and it will remind you, blow it up here so you can see this, it reminds you what they are. So if you ever forget what's adjussive, what's a cohortative, click on it. It'll give you the little definition down here. What is the definition of a participle? It's a verbal adjective, can modify a noun, or can be used as a substantive in its own right, because it functions as an adjective, or a participle possesses a gender, number, and a state. So it's telling you what it is. As far as it's a masculine singular, it's talking about an individual. That's talking about its gender and number. So it's talking about a person, a man, in this case, the Lord. So who is the Lord? He's the one who's always shepherding us. It's not a title, it's defining his actions. That's quite a difference. It's huge, by the way, in its interpretation. I'm not saying God has the title of a shepherd. No. Not a title. I'm saying the Lord is the one who's always shepherding me. Oh, that's different. That's radically different. How does that work? Let me give you an English version of this. What do you call someone who always runs?
Runner.
A runner. Now, by the way, that word runner, though it is a verb, it's acting like a noun because it is the title of someone, but that's the idea of the Hebrew participle, especially in this instance. What you're doing becomes your definition. He's not the shepherd, he's the shepherder. Okay. What do you call someone who cooks?
A cook.
What if they bake?
Baker.
Ooh, there it is. Same truth, same idea. You're taking a verb, bake, but you're using it as your definition, baker. It's not a run, it's a runner. It's not a, it's another example. You don't play, you're a player. Same idea. That's how the English works for the same concept of the participle. And it can be used in different ways. Let me give you the idea of how it can be used. It's always going to speak of a continuous action. That's the participle. But that continuous action, because it is continuous, can become a definition, can become a title, can become a description. It's describing what someone is, what someone does, because it's constant. So whenever you see a participle in your mind, think constant, continuous, nonstop. Now, depending upon the sentence, it can become a title, it can be an action, it can be an adjective, it can be a description. It can be just an ongoing action, depending on your context. But know that basta participle, it's something that is always taking place. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
it functions as a verb, but it's primarily an ongoing or continuous action. Again, it can be an adjective, it can be a noun. Why? Because it can be the runner, the baker. It can be the person who is the healer. Okay? You're a healer, it's an adjective, it's describing who you are. I am a healer, that's an adjective in English, but in Hebrew it would act as a participle, an ongoing continuous action. I'm the one who's always healing. Therefore, I'm a healer. See how that works?
Yes.
That's your participle. So powerful, because there's a lot of them, they're very, very common. That particular type is a type you're going to see very frequently. That speaks of an ongoing, constant action. Okay? What's an infinitive? An infinitive fundamentally is just making the verb act like a noun. It's something that is just, it'd be like adding a to before it. It's not cook, I'm going to cook. It's that infinitive nature of the action. It's not giving any definition of its time or its specific occurrence of when it's going to happen. It's just to cook, to run, to play, to work. That's an infinitive. It doesn't have any specific distinction as time. It's just something that's going to be something that takes place indefinitely. I'm not cooking tomorrow. I'm going to cook. When? Don't know. It's an indefinite. That's an infinitive. And it can act as a noun because of the way it takes on that characteristic. You will often see them translated as nouns. Because again, you would kind of go back to that idea of it's going to take the place of a noun in a sentence because it's not giving a distinction of its time and location. That's the infinitive. They're rare. They don't come up very often. I would give you one. So look at where you can find an infinitive in the Old Testament. I have to find one for you. But often when you see them translated, they are translated as nouns. It's often as it happens as a verbal noun. And then the one that's key, and it is huge. Your final and seventh type is the imperative.
Right.
What's the imperative? Any guess?
Command.
It's the command. Straightforward. In fact, we just saw that. I was pulling it up for you in Isaiah. We didn't get into it because we hadn't talked about it yet. But Isaiah chapter 1, you have this idea of comfort my people. Come down here to that word comfort. Notice what type is it? It's a verb, PL, intensive. PL's intensive active. Remember, it's your active, but it's intense. And what's the type?
Imperative.
Imperative. You must intensively comfort my people, Isaiah. You know it's Isaiah because it's second person masculine. So it's dealing with my people. You must intensively comfort my people. There it is. Imperative. So 7 types. Go over them again. Perfect, completed action. Imperfect, incomplete action. Cohortative, emphatic action. Jussive, permissive action. Participle, ongoing action. Often interpreted as a noun or a verb because it becomes a character. Infinitive is that to be. It is an indefinite, but it also often is interpreted as a noun. And then finally, your command, your imperative. Let's see if I can bring up an imperative for you. Well, participle, Lord is my shepherd, got that one. Infinitive, I do have an infinitive for you. Here we go. Ah, yes. This is a good one. Genesis 2:17, let me show you the example of the infinitive. For in the day that you eat of it, what is it? The tree of knowledge. The fruit of the tree of knowledge is God warning Adam, do not eat that tree. The day you eat it, you will surely die. Interesting, that word surely is an English translation of an infinitive. So how it actually works is in the Hebrew, you have muth, then you have this word tamuth. Muth, tamuth. The tamuth is an imperfect. You're going to die. You're going to, future tense, imperfect, die. But this muth is the infinitive. Dying, you will die. Let me break this down for you. I got to tell you, this is super, super cool. I got to pull this one up for you, because this is actually neat Hebrew. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For the day that you eat of it, you will surely die. Here we go. Notice it goes into, thou eatest. It's the word akal. It's a kal infinitive. That's also an infinitive, by the way. So it's not giving you to eat. When you to eat this, it's not saying when. It's not giving you any definition. At any point in time, if you eat of this, infinitive. There it is right there. There's infinitive to eat. Okay. Thereof, muth, tamuth, which is just the word die twice. Notice in Hebrew, it doesn't say surely die. It just says die, die. If you eat of this fruit, die, die. Why is the word death twice? Well, we would interpret, and this is a great interpretation, you're going to die two ways. You will die spiritually, and because you die spiritually, you will end up dying in the future physically. For notice this, tamuth is imperfect, interpreted in this case being a future tense. It's not complete. You're not going to die the moment you eat. It wasn't like Adam didn't bite the fruit and keel over right there on the spot. He didn't die immediately physically. How did he die immediately?
Spiritually.
Spiritually. Eat of this fruit, and it's right there in the warning, by the way. It's actually stated very clearly. The English doesn't really show you. English misses this. If you look at this in English, you will never see this. English just says you'll surely die. It doesn't give you the death twice. But in the Hebrew, no. Eat of this, you will die infinitive, meaning tied into the moment you eat it, infinitive. You will die infinitive, meaning that spiritual death takes place. To eat this is to die. See how the infinitive kicks in? To eat, to die. Okay? The moment you eat of it, you will die spiritually, instantaneously. Your teeth sink into that fruit. The moment your tongue tastes of it, the moment that enters your mouth, you're dead spiritually. Instantaneous death. Spiritually. Eventual death, future tense, physically. Muth, tamuth. Dying, you will die. A lot more information. Don't see that in English, do you?
Yeah.
Not in the English. Really cool in the Hebrew. Muth, tamuth. The moment you bite into that fruit, you're a dead man. Instantly, dead spiritually. And then eventually, dead physically. Right in the warning, exactly what took place. Exactly as God told him is how it played out. That's your infinitive. So that's that. Again, it's that to eat, to die. And it can often be translated as a noun just because of the way it plays out. And then your imperative, go back to Exodus 3:5, good verse. Do not draw near to this place. Take off your sandals off your feet. Okay. The key word there is take off. It is, by the way, adjussive, because you have that al before that. Al, and then you have this word, takrav. Takrav. Now that takrav is to take off. So we're saying, please take off your shoes, but it is an imperative, meaning, hey, it's not an option per se. It is an option, it's a choice because it's got the adjussive, but he's still commanding you, you need to take your shoes off, buddy. Why are you taking your shoes off? This is holy ground. Meaning you're not coming into the presence of an angel. Though it does say the angel of the Lord spoke from the bush, that's not just an angel. How do we know that's an angel? Take off your shoes. You're on holy ground. That's not an angel. That's the Lord. So command, again, imperative. When you see an imperative, always in Hebrew and in Greek, it's the same thing. Imperatives are huge. You slam on the brakes. You stop immediately. When you see an imperative, pay attention. This is a command. This is not an option. This is not a suggestion. This is the command. It's always going to be a huge, huge, huge part of your Bible interpretation. So you look for that. That's in your types. So you go back to, here it is, Hebrew grammar, 7 tenses, 7 types. Okay, 7 tenses, 7 types. What are your 7 stems, we would say? Tenses are 7 stems. 7 stems are going to be your kal, nifal, piyel, pual, hifal, hofal, hifpayel. How do your stems break down? Active, passive, reflexive, regular, intensive, causative. That's the breakdown of your stems. You have your active, kal, your passive, nifal, your reflexive, hifpael. You have your intensive active, pl. You have your intensive passive, pual. You have your intensive, or your, there's just the 2 for the intensive. But then you have your causative active, hifil, and your causative passive, hofal. So go over those again, if you remember them. You have your 3 kinds, and then your 3 hows. 3 kinds, active, passive, reflexive. 3 hows, regular, intensive, causative. In your active, you have active, normal, kal, active, intensive, pl, active, causative, hifil. In your passive, you have your regular passive, nifal, intensive passive, pual, your causative passive, hofal. And then you have your hitbayal, which is reflexive. Those are your 7 stems. Primary, there are others, but those are your primaries. You then have your 7 types. What are your 7 types? Perfect, complete. Imperfect, incomplete. Cohortative is going to be emphatic. Jussive, permissive. You have your participle, which is ongoing or continuous. Often translated as either a noun or an adjective because it's defining what we're always doing. It's who we always are. So it can be a noun, a shepherd. It can be a descriptive thing. We're the cooker, baker, healer. But it's going to be an ongoing action. So it's important. It speaks of continuous action. Your infinitive is indefinite. To die, to cook, to eat. You know, when you eat this, to eat this is to die. That's the infinitive. And then your imperative, which is the command. 7 stems, 7 types. These 14 terms, if you grasp them, are going to be revolutionary in your understanding of Hebrew grammar, Hebrew interpretation, Hebrew texts. So far, good?
Questions? Do we have notes on this?
Yes. All of this is going to be inside of your notes.
Okay. In the simplified Hebrews, right?
In the simplified Hebrew, all that is in there, although, by the way, more in depth. The simplified Hebrew is going to be more intense than what we're giving to you right now. Just so that you're aware. Let me pull it up for you so you can see it. So the simplified Hebrew has every bit of that. When you come down into, scoot down here, move past all of our vocabulary. There's your shawah, there's the definite article, there's your conjunctions, then there's your prepositions, getting into your verbs, there's your, you can see it, exactly what we've been talking about, there's your stems, perfect tense, imperfect tense. I want you to see that. There's like 4 pages just on the perfect tense. So there's more detail there. Imperfect tense, same thing. It gives you a whole lot of details and examples. Cohoratives and jussives are all right there for you. Keep going down, your participles. Keep going down, your infinitives. Keep going down, your imperatives. All of it's there.
Yes.
So yes, if you want to review all that we went over, including your prepositions, your conjunctions, your articles, going on into your stems and your types, all of that is in the notes for your review. Yes, all of it's there. And with more detail even, a little more detail than we went over. The notes are a little more nuanced. Now.
Thank you.
What's next? When we get together next time, you've got the tools now. The fundamental tools for Hebrew. This is what you need to know. Your fundamental tools are You're not intimidated by the letters. Hopefully you're at that point. Having moved beyond being intimidated by the letters, you're now able to get into the grammar, and the grammar gets into your articles, prepositions, conjunctions. It gets into your stems, 7 of them, your types, 7 more. Once you have those as tools in your pocket, you open up Blue Letter Bible and we start interpreting, which is what we're going to do next week. Starting next week, we're done with the training. We're moving into the actual application. We're going to start going into passages. We're going to start breaking them down. We're going to look at, hey, are there articles here? Are there prepositions here? Are there conjunctions here? How would you interpret those? Because mind you, so much of Hebrew is interpretive. So much of Hebrew is, hey, that's the vav. That's a conjunction. Is it but, and, then, interpretation? Hey, that's a participle. That participle is the lamed. Is that to, of, for, interpretation? Get in and start to look at that and not interpret it. Hey, that's a stem. What stem is it? That stem is a kal, nifal, pu'al, pl, hofal, hifpael. What does that mean? Is it active, passive, intensive? Is it causative? And then look at the interpretation of the word based upon that. We're going to look at that. Hey, what type is that? Hey, that's an imperfect. That's a perfect, completed action, incomplete. That's adjussive. That's permissive. That's a cohortative. That's emphatic. That's a participle. That's ongoing. That's going to be a command. That's an imperative. That's a command. And we'll look at that and say, how does that affect? How does it interpreted based on that in our verse? So come next week, we're jumping in the deep end. We're going to start to actually go in and do Bible study using the tools that we've now learned. Make sense?
Yes. Maybe.
Fair. I like the maybe. Maybe is fair.
Homework for practice.
There will be homework. Your homework is going to be, okay, same as the previous weeks. We're going to ask you to do the letters, both consonants and vowels, 5 times a piece. Why do we keep having you do that? It's repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity removes fear. The more you practice this, the more comfortable you're going to be with the look of the Hebrew, the less intimidated you'll be by it. We're going to have you do the letters again. It's just good practice. We're going to have you do the next 10 words in our outline. We're going to go from 31 to 40, or however that works out. Next 10 words, we're going to have you transliterate them, take the Hebrew, read it, put it into English words, English letters. You don't have to know the words, understand them. That's unnecessary. The Little Bible does that for us. But I want you at least to be able to look at them and be able to know how to pronounce those Hebrew words. Do the next 10 words. So we're going to move on. Fundamentals. Then here's going to be the new one. I want you to pick a verse. And I want you to look and I want you to find for me. I want you to find an imperative. I want you to find a participle. And I want you to find a perfect and an imperfect. Now, you may not find that in every verse. You may have to check more than one. So it may take a little bit of searching. That shouldn't be too hard because those are going to be found relatively commonly in multiple places. If you really need help, you can always go back and review the video because we gave you verses that have every one of those. You're welcome to go use those verses. That's up to you. If you want to pick your own verses, that's fine. But I want you to find all 4 of those things, all 4 of those types. I want you to look for an imperfect. I want you to look for a perfect. I want you to look for a participle. I want you to look for an imperative. Those 4 are relatively common, so you shouldn't have too much of an issue finding them. And when you find them, I want you to tell me how that interpretation is affected by that. Like, how does it being an imperfect help you interpret that passage? If it's perfect, what interpretation does that have on that particular verse? If it's an imperative, what interpretation does that give you? If it's a participle, what interpretation does that give to you? So I want you to tell me, find the verse that has those, and then use those to help me interpret that verse. I'll give you the 4 different types. I'll write all this down. I'll send you notes on all this. But this will help you practice the types of the verbs.
So that will be 4 verses that we're going to look for, or is it possible to have all those in one verse?
If you got lucky, you happen to just pick just the right verse, you could all find all 4 in one verse. Chances of you doing that, unless you AI some help, if you AI some help, you might hunt it down faster. And I don't mind if you do a little cheating. You're welcome to do that if you like. It may take more than one verse. You could probably ask ChatGPT or Gemini and go, give me a Hebrew verse that has both a participle, an imperative, an imperfect, and a perfect in it. And I'm sure that they do exist. That is possible to find. But
that's a good tip.
You're welcome to do that if you want. Find a single verse. But what I want you to do is the key is I want you to find those types and then use those types to give me an interpretation. How does that change your passage interpretation based upon being perfect, imperfect, participle, and imperative? Make sense?
Yes.
I want you to use your types.
Okay.
All right. And if you want to throw in for some extra bonus points, you can also throw the stems in there, but I won't put that as the homework. That's just if you want to. You can throw the stems in there as well, because they all have stems. Every verb has a stem. Every verb has a type. No exceptions. They always have stems and types. Questions? All right, let's pray you out. Lord, we thank you for this morning. As always, it is a privilege and a blessing to be able to get into your word, Lord. And this is where it starts to get exciting. This is where I get excited. Lord, because this is where we start to get into the meat of what it means to really break down and get into your word. Lord, not just glossing over the surface, not just assuming that what we have as a translation is going to be the best, because frankly, English is limited and Longo is limited. Lord, it's hidden there in the original language. Not that it can't be brought out, but it just takes a little more effort on our part to understand what it says. And Lord, to have the tools, to have the familiarity, to be able to get in and start to break down, that gets exciting. When you open up a passage and you're not just reading what someone interpreted, but you're looking at the actual text in the Hebrew. Oh, Lord, that's exciting. Muth tamuth. Lord, to eat means death. And eventually you'll die. Things that you just don't see without getting into the Hebrew. Lord, this is what we're excited to get into. And I pray that you bless the Bible studies this week, Lord, as these guys go out and they do some Hebrew. Lord, that you just open up their eyes and you make it rich. You fill their hearts with joy as they get to dig deeper than they ever have before into the Old Testament. We thank you for that. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.